final push now, last 100, come on. Everything, get that, come We got the TGC as well, so well done everyone. Super job, super job.
So welcome back to the 36th edition of the RCA Training Tips Show, where today I wanted to give you, I guess, a first independent look at a brand new concept and brand new workout on the Sufferfest, or they're now known as the Wahoo SUF indoor training app called Norway, which in my opinion could be the best indoor race simulation experience I've ever had. Now, if you're not familiar with the Sufferfest, I recently reviewed it, comparing it to Zwift, which I'll link to below. But essentially, the Sufferfest is an indoor training app for cyclists which can be used for both indoor training and also off-bike workouts such as yoga, flexibility, off-bike strength and conditioning, etc. Now, personally, I'm quite a big fan of using the Sufferfest. If you look at my Strava account, you'll see on a weekly basis, I'm in there doing their high-intensity interval training sessions, and as a result, people that I coach through the Road Cycling Academy's up-level road cycling course, I have them using the Sufferfest too. And to date, the Sufferfest platform has been one of the go-tos for many high-intensity interval training sessions and base training sessions for people in the up-level road cycling course, which we incorporate into both our indoor and outdoor 12-week training programs. However, the Sufferfest have now developed what we're going to talk about today, this new concept or new workout, one which I tried earlier this month and also one which I got RCA member Ali to try, who you can see here getting a nice little workout in. And it's a workout that I'm super pleased as a road cycling coach to see released to the market, because I feel like it could be a game changer for people training for specific events, which I'll explain for you shortly, and also a workout that will provide some extra motivation for those who enjoy indoor training and like to get pushed a little. So let's break this video into 4 main parts. Number 1, let's talk about what Norway actually is. Number 2, how does it compare to real life racing and also eRacing? Number 3, who's it for? And number 4, things to look out for if you're going to give it a go. So essentially what the Sufferfest have done, they've given us the opportunity in the comfort of our own home to experience what it's like to race in a world tour race. How have they done that? Well, firstly, they took onboard camera footage and obtained the actual power profile captured by Lotto Soudal rider Carl Fredrik Hagen, hope I said that right, in the 2019 edition of the Tour of Norway. By syncing the video and the power file, they can map his real-time efforts into the onboard footage. Now, clearly the vast majority of us can't put down pro level watts, so you might be asking yourself, if I'm supposed to follow the same efforts as Fredrik, how on earth am I going to complete this workout? It's a really good question. So the Sufferfest have made it so all of Fredrik's efforts are scaled to your own personal 4DP profile, which means you will need to complete either their 4DP test in the Sufferfest prior to this workout, or alternatively, you can complete the half Monty, which is a little less daunting, and that will give you most of the 4DP numbers with some estimations for your upper end zones, which is actually how I personally ran with this test, and it worked out well. Ultimately, what this means though, is you get to experience exactly what Fredrik experienced during this stage, but relative to your own power abilities. When he sprints, you sprint. When he attacks, you attack. When he sits up, you get to take it easy, or relatively easy anyway. And for me, this was an incredibly immersive and realistic indoor racing experiences. And unlike other Sufferfest workouts, there was no music. It was just pure raw GoPro footage with sounds of the peloton, sounds of the road, and also the overlay that you get from the team car, which was pretty cool.
GC, well done, mate. And we got the Team GC as well, so well done, everyone. Super job, super job.
So number 2 is comparing it to actual real-life race data. So what I thought would be interesting if we compared the Norway indoor racing experience and looked at the time in zone and compared it to a real-life race that I did late last year, and then we also compared that to what an eRacing experience looks like. So the first one I'm going to pull up here is a road race I completed last year at the Men's Masters Nationals Championships in the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. Now keep in mind that every road race course that you complete will be different and will require something slightly unique. And with the Masters Nationals, it was quite a hilly, punchy course. So lots of punchy Zone 6 anaerobic work. However, overall, if we compare the zones from Norway to a real life race, it's pretty similar. There's plenty of time in Zone 1, which is normal for a race, and there's plenty of time in the upper end zones, which once again is normal for a real life race. In fact, most of the zones are pretty well aligned external to Zone 6, which as stated was unique to the Masters event. If we now look at the e-race on Zwift, we have something completely different. Lots of time now spent around threshold and tempo. So a Zwift race is vastly different to the physiological cost of, say, doing something like Norway, which is similar to the physiological cost of racing in real life. Funny that. Number 3, who's Norway for? Number 1, it's definitely going to be good for people that are targeting race events, particularly for those people that can't get to, say, the C and B events before the main A event. And you'd want to get to the C and B events before the main A event so you can get your eye in, of course, match practice, but also so you can experience the same type of physiological cost as you will on race day, which you can't typically do in your home environment. Bunch rides are slightly different, and typically training on the trainer is slightly different. You're doing high intensity interval training sessions, you're doing a Zwift race, etc. But now with Norway, you can experience race-like conditions in preparation for a race on the indoor trainer. Number 2, definitely for those conditioned cyclists that love indoor training and racing and are keen to experience probably the best virtual pro race simulation available on the web. I literally don't think you can get this anywhere else. And while it's tough, it's a unique experience and you actually feel like you're part of the race. Just ensure that if you're going to give this a shot, that you've got some experience with indoor cycling. Don't buy a trainer and then this be the first thing that you do. You want at least 3 to 4 weeks, I'd say, under your belt of some aerobic training, some high intensity interval training, and then you could get stuck into this. Number 4 is things that you should be looking out for. At a bare minimum, you want to know your FTP, your functional threshold power, which is essentially your hour power. The next best thing would be to do the half Monty, which is where you get your FTP, but you also get your maximal aerobic power numbers. They estimate your upper end zones, and you also get your lactate threshold heart rate, which is pretty handy. But ideally you do the Wahoo SUF 4DP, which will give you all your upper end zones. You definitely want a trainer that operates in ERG mode. So when the power shifts, you shifts, and in this session, it shifts a lot. And you want to ensure that the sound effects are turned off given the many changes in intensity. Lastly, you want to be prepared for a solid workout. So maybe you want to try one of the Wahoo SUF's off-bike mental focus preparation sessions before you get stuck into this. Finally, the Wahoo SUF have given me a 30-day free trial code, which I'm able to share with you. You can see instructions below. That's in addition to their 14-day free trial. So essentially you're going to get 44 days of free trialing on the Wahoo SUF. Instructions below. Hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you all in the next video.